Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 16th episode of the 8th series of the Temple of Surf the podcast. Today, with us from Germany is pro surfer and former Olympian Leon Glatzer. We discuss with him about Olympic Games, surfboards, and much more. Hi, Leon. Welcome to the show. Where are you today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm at the moment here in France, in the southern part of France, in a town called Hossegor. Basically, it's where surfing is from all of Europe. Where all the surf pros come. Where there's a Quicksilver event. Well, there used to be a WCT, the Quicksilver Pro. Now it's not on the tour anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm here training at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? Because every single European was looking forward for that moment in Europe, and I don't know why has been cut, but maybe one day will be brought back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember when I was 15 years old, I used to come here all the time because I come from Costa Rica. And when I was 15, it was like my first trip here to France, to Hossegor. And when October would come, everybody was talking about the event, like the whole town, and so many people were like so excited of this. And really, like, everybody from France, everybody from Spain, from Portugal would just drive up all the way to Hossegor to see this amazing event, and the beach would be, like, completely full. You couldn't find parking anywhere, and it was almost like a little festival in a small town, you know? So, yeah, and this is Hossegor is definitely a really, I would say, well-known surf town, where everybody just comes and surfs and all the sponsors are here. So it's interesting that it's not here anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, now they
Yeah.
actually had the Jeremy Flores did an event.
Mm.
I don't know if you heard about it, and he invited a couple of the surfers around the world and did I would say almost like he wanted to bring back the feeling or the energy of the Quicksilver Pro. And yeah, the event just finished yesterday, and he did a really good job. It was more like a team event, so you had your teammates, you were surfing with the teammates, and you were trying to get points to get to the final and win. And the waves were absolutely amazing. They had barrels every day. So talking to the people there, they said they had a really good time, and you could definitely feel a little bit of the spirit of the Quicksilver Pro again.
Oh my God, I really miss those times, but maybe one day things will change. Europe needs is a surfing stop on the WSL with WSL tournament. So we'll see, we'll see. We
Yeah.
cross our fingers, like they say. So the first question that I have for you is the same question that I ask everyone on the show. In your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing?
Well, that's a really good question. For me, the most important thing in surfing is to go in the ocean and to be able to disconnect from the whole world, to have this feeling of it's just you and one of the most beautiful elements that this earth has, which is water, which is the ocean. And yeah, just being able to disconnect completely from the outside world. And I think you can't do this in many sports. There's only a couple sports that you were able to do this. So definitely that.
Yeah, and not everybody can understand that, but for sure a surfer does. That's like once you are there with your board and the ocean, you don't even look at your left and right, right? It's just like you and your space, your time. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I go surfing, and that first duck dive I do, it just cleans like everything within 1 second. And the hour or the 2 hours that you're in the water, or the 3 hours, however long it is, you yeah, you're in so much peace out there, and you're having so much fun without any absolutely any exterior or outside noise. And it's only you. It's only you, the ocean, and the fishes, and everything that comes with the ocean. So it's a very, it's for many people. I mean, I've heard a lot of other podcasts, and they say also it's now almost like a therapy for them,
Yes.
for everything that's going on in the world, and so much social media, so much information for a human being that has been that you need to process, that some people go do this for therapy. They see this as therapy, and they see it as the most beautiful therapy they can ever have because they have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It doesn't. We don't mind to have fun while doing therapy, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, it's a sort of meditation if you want as well. Depends on how deep you are into the wave, into the environment around you. And of
Yeah.
course, I said, you should not look left and right, but maybe we should look left and right.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, we get
Yeah.
in trouble, right?
Yeah, maybe when you paddle for a wave, you should definitely look left. But
Ex-
other than that, no need to.
exactly, exactly. So I am a curious person, and I would like to ask you, what was your first proper surfboard? I mean, the one that I don't know, you were really waiting for it, or that has been given to you by your family. What was that?
Yeah, that's a good memory of mine actually. When I was like 10 years old, I was in Pavones. I was living in Playa Pavones, and I was always surfing like on a longboard with friends of my mom or friends of my family, or my stepdad would also always take me on a longboard, and that's how I kind of started surfing. And then there was this really big swell in Pavones. Pavones is in the southern part of Costa Rica, and it's basically one of the longest, or I think second or third longest wave in the whole world.
Oh,
And there was a really big swell, and when the swell is like this, the whole town comes and basically watches the wave. And I remember I was sitting there watching the wave, like just a little kid seeing these huge waves. I mean, for me in that time when I was 10, they were like, I don't know, it felt like 100 feet, but they were only like 10 to 12, which is still big. But a board came in, somebody broke his leash and broke a quarter of the board from the nose down. A quarter of it was broken and the leash was broken. I remember like running for my life to the beach to grab this board. And then I took the board, and the guy came swimming, and I was just waiting for him to come so I can give it back to him. And he told me like, "Hey, you want to have this board?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, like of course, like I can have this." Because back in the day, my family, my mom, like we couldn't, afford a surfboard, and I was still super young. So he came to my mom with the other part of the board with the nose, and he was like, "Hey, this is for your son, and I'll pay the repair and everything, and
wow.
then your son can have a surfboard." And I remember like I couldn't believe it. I was like, "This is gonna be my first surfboard." And 2 days later, the board was fixed, and that's basically how I really started to fall in love with surfing.
Have you spoken again with that guy? Do you know him or no?
Oh no, I have no. It was a tourist that came to Pavones and never heard of him, never saw him again, just for that one moment. But if he hears this podcast, just want to say thank you so much. You changed my life for sure. Whoever
I'm
you are.
I'm sure he did. He would be so proud, to have
Yeah,
like Olympic athlete, on surf. So
yeah,
it's not a small thing. And no, fantastic story. I mean, it's
yeah,
when you're saying passing the stop. In effect, this story is telling. It's an example, a clear example of it. You just
yeah,
keep your board and
yeah. Exactly. It's passing the stoke.
amazing, fantastic. And you still have that board, or you gave it to somebody else in the?
Oh, I don't remember. After like some years, I think. there's a guy named Thomas Lang. He's a legend in the German surf community. He was like one of the first guys sponsored by Red Bull,
Okay.
and he came to Pavones another day, and I was on that board, and obviously the board was it was it looked really bad, you know? It was a pretty old board, it was broken, like, it was fixed, and I remember when he came in surfing, and he was surfing so good, and he was doing basically airs. He just every wave he went for an air, and I was so interested in this. I was like, "Whoa, like, that's so cool, like, I wanna do that." So instead of going surfing with him at the peak, I would sit down and watch him surf, which I never did. I just wanted to surf myself, just go
Mm.
surfing. And I would just sit there and watch him, and he saw me that I was, watching him, and he was, like, so interested and so curious, like, "Why is this kid, like, just watching me surf?" You know? And then he came up to me, and he's like, "Hey," and I was, like, so nervous. I didn't know who he was, he was surfing so good, and he's like, "Hey, where you from?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I live here in Pavones, but my parents are German." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "No way." He's like, "I'm gonna get you a surfboard." And I was like, "Really?" Like, okay. So I think surfboards were just coming to me, you know, from other people. And he gave me my first custom made surfboard. And then the other one somehow disappeared, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, it was a good exchange in a certain way, right?
Yes, totally, totally.
And even today, surfboards are still coming to you, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just yeah, to be honest, my whole life, I think, equipment, surfboards, basically, like, first of all, at a young age, people, I think, just liked how I surf and liked that I was always super nice with them, and I was never, like, stuck up or trying to be someone. I was just being me and just loved surfing, so, boards just came to me, and at that time, I couldn't afford a board. And then after some time, yeah, I started getting good. I started winning some competitions, slowly came to Europe and yeah, got a couple board sponsors and then more boards came. So it was great.
yeah. It's interesting. I was thinking about, we all, I mean, the most part of us always hold the old surfboards in our collection or in our garage and whatever. But it's
Yeah.
very important what you're saying. We should maybe let them go and give them to young people just for them to try and to,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
something doesn't happen that often, I would say.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was moving a lot of like we were living in Poland and we had to go back to the city and we moved a couple places. And when I was like 13 or 14, I started getting more boards actually from Thomas Lang because he owns a surfboard company, was the shaper from Germany, but they're based in Portugal. And I remember, and still to the day of today, every time I go to Pavones and I have like my used boards, which they still in good shape, and I always give them to the community, always like giving boards to them, to all the kids or to friends of mine that can't afford a board. And I've also noticed that I've done this around the world. Like I do this when I was in Salvador for the competition where I qualified. For me, it was so special, and I saw a kid and I gave this board, but I've done this unconsciously. I never did this like, okay, yeah, I got boards when I was younger. I want to give back. Like this is something that just came
Natural.
out of me naturally. And I think it's because of the situation that I had when I was younger, that the experience that I had, that this happened to me. And naturally I just give boards away, and I'm so happy about it. Like, we were just right now in a competition in Germany with they're like standing rapid waves, they call them. And I had 2 boards and, I wasn't even planning to give a board at this competition, and it's a event that I hosted, we did like a little like best tricks, get some goodies, and you can surf with me, and we can all hang out and have a good time. And there was this kid, he was super, super humble, like really, really shy, and he was surfing really good, but I felt him, he was like kind of outside of the group of everyone.
Oh,
And I saw him, and just out of nowhere, like in me was just like, I'm gonna give this kid my board. I really want him to have my board, like out of nowhere. And then the event finished and everybody got goodies except him.
oh.
So everybody had a goodie. Everybody was standing there. We were giving like bags out with Oakley glasses, with the kind track pads, all kinds of stuff. And then he was looking around like, he's like, "Hi, I don't have a goodie." And I was like, I took the microphone and I was like, "Hey, don't worry, like I got something better for you." And and I just spoke to him before giving him the board, like just seeing how humble you are and surfing, and that you have so much passion for surfing. I want to give you this present. And basically everyone was freaking out, and he started crying, and
Uh,
for me it was like it's always such a special moment to give one of my boards to a kid. And I think this is because how when I was younger it happened to me too. I think so. I don't know.
we don't know, but definitely it's an amazing thing what you did, and maybe one day you will see him in the Olympic Games or somewhere else winning, and maybe you
Yeah, yeah.
contributed a little bit in that, so
Yeah.
why not? Why not?
Totally.
Talking about Olympic Games, I'm sure you spoke about them like a million of times, but
Mm.
what is the most precious memory that you have of that time?
The most precious moment for me qualifying to the Olympics was the qualification in El Salvador. So not even in the Olympics being there, but
Okay.
from this whole Olympic thing, or this whole Olympic event, because Olympics, it's just not just the event. There's so much more going on months prior and months after the Olympics. It's like for me, the Olympics was like a 6-month event, was crazy. Everything that came with this. So yeah, the qualification was definitely the most beautiful part of the whole process of the Olympics. My number one for sure.
Interesting, you're saying the moment before and not the moment of the Olympic itself. Definitely, those in Tokyo was different, because of no public and all that, right? So it was
Yeah,
it was not a good first surf Olympic like they planned to have, but definitely,
yeah,
you know,
mm,
how do you
totally.
say? How do you say? Once an Olympian, always an Olympian, something
Always an
like that.
Olympian.
So
That's true. That's very true.
that's what matters. And so for France, 2024 is Team Germany still up, right? For how does it work? There is Peru, right?
Yeah, so there's one more qualification for the Olympics, which basically everyone comes and competes to this event, which will be in Puerto Rico in
Puerto
February.
Rico, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, 2024, couple months prior to the Olympics. And in this event, only the top 7 of this event will be able to qualify. So everybody from the world, or the top 3 athletes of each country, will go there to try to earn those spots in those top 7 spots of the men, and if I'm right, it's top 8 of the girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you going to compete or no?
Yes, for sure. This is 100%. This is what I do now, compete for the Olympics.
I mean, it's nice, It's like
Yeah.
if it is from a perspective of exposure to all over the world, is so powerful, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah, of course, and also it's just like such an amazing event to be part of the Olympics, to go to the Olympics. It's a whole nother world. And now, like, basically because I went to Olympics once. Now it's more like I'm scared of not to go, because I had such an amazing time and it was such an amazing experience and it really changed my whole life, so now I just want to like do it again and again as many times as I can. It's like almost like an addiction going to the Olympics, and you understand why so many people train their whole life to go to the Olympics, or they put 4 big years of their life just to make it there, because it can change your life. And just the experience of being there is surreal. You're coming to another world.
And what you think about the wave of Chopu is you had already the experience, I guess, to surf it, right?
Yeah, in Chopu, definitely I would say is one of the most amazing waves in this world, 100%. I was there a couple months ago for the first time. Oh no, I was there a year ago for the first time, but there was no waves at all. We went with we had like a Red Bull camp, and we went with a couple Red Bull athletes and some coaches, and it was really amazing. But we had absolutely no waves. It was super small. So I didn't really experience Chopu, right? And then a couple months ago I went again. We were shooting for Red Bull. We're doing a like a big documentary of myself, of like my life, of how I got my first board.
Ah, really? I
Yeah.
did. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
see
So
that. Okay, okay.
so all of this will be in the movie of how basically how my life started to where I am now. So we went to shoot there, and that was the first time I really experienced Chopu. And the first 2 days, or the first even 4 days, was so hard to surf. Like I was just like, wow, this is a very challenging wave and so dangerous too. So I think like for the event for the Olympics, it's gonna be a show. It's really gonna be a show. It's gonna be amazing. So many people are gonna watch this event because they will know how dangerous this wave is and how spectacular this wave is, because you can really, you're like always in between of you can get really hurt or you can get the wave of your life
Exactly.
in Choco, and the images for the outside people that are watching are just gonna be amazing. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be a really cool event to watch for sure.
Definitely. Well, I hope for you that you're gonna be part of it rather than watch it. For sure,
Yeah.
for me, I will watch it 100%. but,
Yeah, totally.
but but I'm sure it's gonna be great. And and the next one is America, so they're really preparing California. So it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
That's cool.
it's a, it's a
Awesome.
good it's a good thing. And with the podcast, I had the opportunity to talk about champions of the past and champion of today. And one the big difference is that at that time the figure of a coach was not there, and I guess today is so important and relevant to have a coach. Do you have one?
Yeah, I do. Um, but this is supported by the German government or by the German Surf Federation. So I don't
Okay.
have like a personal coach, but I definitely the German Federation has basically a coach and a sports psychologist for the team.
Okay.
But we're with them all the time. So so yes, 100%.
Because my question was like, if you had a coach or not like a professional coach that gave you one really good advice on how to surf in your life, doesn't need to be right now.
Like the advice that they gave,
Yeah,
which
if
the
there was
advice they gave.
somebody that gave you like a really, really good advice on how to surf in your life up to now, like could be a coach, could be somebody
Yeah,
else.
I mean, my sports psychologist, or the sports psychologist for the team, he has influenced the whole team, to where we are now. Because I remember 5 years ago, like the German team, like it was never on the radar. Nobody knew about them. It was just another team going to the ISA World Surfing Games. That's who we were.
Mm.
And then the sports psychologist came in. His name is Martin Baltz, and together with a ex-coach that we had, Llewellyn Whitaker, and our new coach that we have now, Didier Piter from France, they have formed a team who, from one day to another, had a Olympic qualification and also made it into the top 7 of the world, you know? So right now we're definitely like we're on the radar 100%. We're one of those teams who every time we go to a ISA, we're the team that people are watching too as well, together with, Australia, USA, France, Brazil, Spain. Like we're in that top 8, so yeah, they have influenced us a lot in our success. But one thing that has helped me, or my best advice that he has given me,
Yeah.
it's it's so simple. It's just really just let it go,
Ah,
you
good.
know? Just really to let go of everything in this moment and to remember what surfing is when we go in competitions, because we forget that it's you in the ocean. Exactly like what we were talking about a couple minutes ago, that the most important thing for me, or the most important thing, or what surfing gives you, is that you're in the ocean and it's just only you, yourself, and the water. That's it. And the waves. There's nothing else. But the moment that you're in a competition, there's a million thoughts going through your mind, and there's so much going on that will decrease your performance because of this.
Yeah.
So this is not surfing anymore. He says, So he says, like, you just have to just let it go, let all that go, and be you and yourself in the ocean, and then I think that's when I perform the best for sure.
Yeah, as simple as it is, as efficient it is, because it's true that I spoke with a lot of professional surfers that they dropped their career because at a certain point it was too much pressure, and
Yeah,
they were not enjoying anymore. And so, if you don't enjoy to compete,
yeah,
then that's it. It's over, right?
yeah.
You don't want to be
Yeah,
there.
the amount of pressure that athletes go through, or also in the surfing world, the amount of traveling, the amount of pressure from sponsors, competition pressures, ups and downs, constantly, and not having much time at home. We're not we don't do a sport where you just basically be at home, go surf, come back, and just train, 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 and you go to the next competition. We're constantly flying all over the world, if it's for photo shoots or video projects or competition or training camps. Like, there's always something to do, because surfing is also like a lifestyle, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah, we're on a plane 11 months out of the year, 100%. So I would say that's the classic one. People, or lots of kids, or professional surfers, drop out due to pressure. And I can totally relate to this. It's insane, the amount of pressure we have in the sport, so
mm,
yeah, it's a
definitely.
tough one. You really have to be really mentally strong, and consistently mentally strong all the time, which is not easy to do as a human being.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not we're not robots.
Exactly, exactly. We are human, and we need to deal with everything that comes in our life. So
Yeah.
it's normal. So you're talking about projects, except of course the qualification for the Olympics that I'm sure is taking a lot of your time. What are you preparing? Is there particular something you are working on right now? Some projects?
Well, right now, at this moment of my life, I was just injured for 2 months, so I basically had to get back to my feet. I had a lower back injury. It didn't happen. It wasn't one injury that happened in an accident or anything. It's been an accumulation of flights, of lots of airs, lots of things going on. So basically, my lower vertebrates got really really stiff, and there was at some point there was no movement at all,
Mm.
and the pain was out of control. So there was like so much inflammation, and I was just kind of like ignoring it because I was just like, this is it's just an athlete life. You sometimes you just deal with pain and you have to keep pushing all the time. So I ignored it, and yeah, at some point, for so much ignoring it, I guess the pain came and it was unbearable. Like I couldn't surf anymore. So we had to go back to Germany and basically start training again, start rehab. And now I'm coming back to surfing, and yeah, I have two things in my mind, two big projects. Obviously, the first one is the priority is the Olympic qualification right now in Puerto Rico. So I have very little time to, to get ready for this event. But that's what I'm doing at this moment in France. And then I have a really big project which I was just telling you about. Red Bull is making a documentary of myself, of my life, and it's gonna be like a 1 hour movie. That's the plan. So we've been filming the last 2 years so much. I travel with a film crew a big part of my year, of my events or everywhere I go. We just had a qualification in El Salvador, and the film crew was there. They filmed everything that was going on. I was mic'd up the whole time,
Okay.
uh, since the day I woke up to the till when I went to sleep. So this is where I also told you where my life has changed a lot. Before I was definitely not on the radar. Nobody kind of I mean, I was known in the surfing industry, but suddenly from one day to another, I'm traveling with a film crew every day of my life pretty much. So yeah, big things are happening, and this is where pressure comes. You deal with a lot of different factors that you're not used to when you're a kid and you don't have this pressure.
Yeah.
You're suddenly, you suddenly have big responsibilities and huge expectations, which before you just had nothing to lose. So I'm 26 years old now, and definitely your mindset goes to places where it didn't go before.
True. It's a responsibility, as you said,
Yeah.
but it's okay if you let it go, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That 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 helps me a lot, the letting go. Trying to
Exactly.
let go and live the moment for sure.
Cool. We're gonna finish our interview with six short Q&A sessions. Please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind. Okay, it's gonna be fast. The best surfboard that you ever ridden.
The best surfer that I've ever ridden was the surfboard that I qualified in the Olympics in El Salvador.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
the best one, 100%. I remember we were training in El Salvador for 6 months, and I went through about 30 boards to try boards, and nothing was working. I mean, they were good boards, but really good boards from Almeric in Costa Rica. And I was like, this I won't be able to qualify. Like the boards are really good, they're amazing, but a surfer needs this crazy connection
Mm.
with one board, and it can change your career, it can change your life. And it's crazy when you get that one board, you maybe have this once a year or once in a lifetime, you don't know. And I told my shaper in Costa Rica, I was like, hey guys, like I have 30 boards here right next to me. They're amazing, but I don't have this connection with one of them. Can you make four more? And they're like, okay, we're making four more. You'll get them sent, and within 1 week they're in El Salvador. And that was 1 week prior to the event. And this board came, four boards came, and I remember grabbing this board, like walking to it and just praying that this will be the board that I will qualify to the Olympics because I was not confident with my other boards. I had zero confidence. And I knew I was like, I won't be able to beat all these guys.
Mhm.
So I grabbed the board. And the moment I touched this board out, there was something in me that was just like, wow, this is it. This is it. Like everything about it, the feeling, the rails, and it wasn't much difference to my other boards, but there was something about it. And I was like knocking on it. I played with the board in my hands for about 30 minutes. And everybody was watching me like, "What are you doing with that board?" And I told them, like, crazy eyes, I had these crazy eyes and watery eyes, and I was like, "Guys, like, this is it. This is the board," and yeah, next thing you know, I tried it on my first wave, and I was just like, "Wow," and my coach was, like, freaking out, like, "What is this?" And then I rode that board the whole event and qualified for the for the most amazing or best experience I've had in my life so far, which that surfboard gave it to me.
You need to have those
And
like
that one I saved it.
that one. Yeah, okay,
That
maybe.
that one I saved it for sure.
It is, sometimes it's a matter of, as you said, connection, like I was talking with Sean Mattison of Von Sol Surfboards, and he is the guy that basically designed the little fifth fin that Kelly Slater used to win his 11th title. And if you know that fin is super small in the quad fin, and in the setup. And basically he said, like Kelly Slater brought me back and said that little thing made me win my 11th title. And he's saying like it's such a small thing that I don't think he had like a huge effect, but nevertheless, it's not important. What is important is that
Yeah,
Kelly thought that,
exactly.
so that board maybe was similar to many others, but yeah, it
Yeah,
was so powerful for you, and that's what matters, right? So
yeah,
that's good.
totally. Yeah.
What's your favorite shaper, if you have one?
My favorite shaper is, my shaper, of course.
I don't want to get you in trouble, right?
No, no, I mean, they're super open. He knows the shapers that I've had, relationships with, different many shapers, but that's definitely the guy who made my board and who I have a really special connection to in basically in Costa Rica. We have our general manager there, and the general manager and the shaper. We have such a good connection, and we definitely get the boards right a lot.
Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Personal question: your favorite song or kind of music?
My favorite kind of music is reggaeton.
Okay.
100% because this is what I grew up with,
Yeah,
in Costa Rica and Latin American country.
yeah.
This is everything we heard all day on the phones, on the headphones, at a bar, at a disco. So it's just in my blood. I hear it now even.
How do they say? Pura vida, no? It's
Yeah, the pura vida. Exactly.
and what is your favorite surf spot?
My favorite surf spot is Pavones, where I
Okay.
live, 100%. I've been to so many surf spots in the world, but I think there are obviously better waves than Pavones. I've been to Skeleton Bay and it was the most surreal experience of my life, to Indonesia, to Teahupu, everywhere. But at the end, Pavones is home.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I never thought about it until later, till I got older. Like, why is that my favorite spot? And I just know this wave inside out and I just play with it however I want to. It's my home. So that's my favorite wave for sure.
Who's the favorite surfer of all time?
Favorite surfer of all time is Andy Irons.
Yeah,
100%.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
This
That's
guy this guy is something else for sure.
something. Yeah, excellent. I agree with you. Last question is a personal question. I don't remember why I came up with question, but with this question, but I want to know your best relationship advice.
Wow, that's a good one. My best relationship advice is that so every person is obviously really different, and somebody always wants something from someone, right? Or wants you to be in a certain way. So what I've done in my relationship is that you make a note. You make notes of what you want from this person or what you need or what you don't want. And you put this in your notes, you talk about this notes, and then this person that you give this to and you exchange this notes, you become this note for that person. And if this works out, you can definitely succeed in your relationship, but it's only not once a year or once in a lifetime in this relationship. This happens consistently because you're growing all the time. You're in constant growth and you're evolving into a different person. So in 1 year, I will be a complete different person no matter what, because that's how life works. So
Yeah.
you do the notes again and you let that person know this is who I am, this is who I'm changing into, and this is what I would, like from you. So
In-
that has helped a lot for sure. And
Interesting.
you just be open, and when you receive this note from your partner, you become this note for them, if
Yeah.
you can.
You need, it's like in a wave, you need to commit, if you don't
Yeah.
commit, you don't get anything, you just
Yeah,
get like a ride and then everything goes. Cool. Th-
exactly.
Thank you so much for being with me and spending some time talking about surf. And I look forward to talk to you very soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. It was awesome talking with you.
Ciao, ciao.
Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!